Hello, everybody. And hello, Zach.
Hello.
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 How you doing?
Doing good. Just trying to, fill the void of no Hurricanes hockey. But hey, you know what? At least we got Four Nations tomorrow. So at least we got a little something going on. But how are you doing, Kat?
I'm glad we didn't have a long, time in between. That it was feeling like there was no hockey.
Yeah, the usual All-Star break was like, hey, you have no hockey for a week. Have fun. And it's like, what do I do?
Honestly, I'm good. I'm really excited for the Four Nations face-off because I'm more excited for that than I have been for the All-Star in quite a while. So they've been leading up to it. Yeah, they've been leading up to the Four Nations quite a bit, and I'm really excited. I wish they had, of course, dropped everything sooner for everyone, and that everything wasn't so expensive. But
yeah, the jerseys, it's the thing is too, you're not really getting a whole lot of players you can get pre-made. You have to get the customs, and even the customs are just absolutely. Even the tickets too, like good grief.
Yeah, I am jealous of anyone going to see those games in person. I will say, if anyone is wanting to splurge on a little Four Nations thing, some gear, maybe you don't want to go fully for the jersey just yet, but you want to rep with a hat, a scarf, a t-shirt, something like that. We are an NHL Shop affiliate, and if you use our link, you're helping out your favorite podcast. So just want to put that out there. It's a great way to support us. I mean, obviously listening, tuning in, great way. But also, if you're already going to go ahead and get the gear, you might as well, help us out a little bit as well.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, but for the audio listeners, nhlshop.775j.net/JEZ6B6.
And we know that's a mouthful. We definitely have that link up on our socials as well. You'll be able to find it.
Show description as well. So yeah, if you can't memorize it all, we do have links for it. But yeah, hey, I guess this is what they generated for us. But hey, you know what's awesome though? At least we're able to work with the NHL Shop, so it's always good. Like hey, you know what? Help your podcast out by repping your favorite teams. So it's a win-win for everyone, honestly.
Win-win for everyone.
Exactly.
But we will talk more about the Four Nations face-off. Of course, that's the big topic. But we do have a couple of Canes games to recap as well. One not so great, one a lot more what the Canes fans wanted to see. But we'll have to start with the Minnesota game, of course. With the Minnesota game, a lot of the fans were seeing that Jarvis up on the top line like a lot of people wanted.
Yeah.
I will say I recently was able to be talking with a couple of our kids. Like I listen, I know Jarvis. I was a big proponent for putting Jarvis with Aho to start this season. Like I was raving all about it. They finally did it. They connected. Zach can remember. I was very happy about it. All about it. And I'm excited to put him up there. It was never me saying I wouldn't want to put Jarvis up there. It was more of me in the long run saying it's not Blake that's the problem up there. And this game kind of showed it still wasn't Blake that was the problem because Blake was creating chances left and right. And anyway, you put him on a different line this game and he had an opportunity for a penalty shot. And I felt so bad for him because he actually had it. Like if you watch it, everyone was talking about like he had that goal. Like he had beat Gustafsson, he was ready and he just like caught an edge, he stumbled and then just missed it, and you could tell he was so frustrated there with it. But we did get to see the Jarvis written in Aho line kind of pop out there, and it was a weird game. Like again, I'm not going to say we played badly, but there was a little bit of lack of urgency, and you would have expected a little bit more from the Canes against a struggling Wild team, especially on the power play. When you've got them saying like they've got one of the worst penalty kills in the league.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not. Yeah, I think it's last time I checked was in the 20s, so it wasn't really bad. But yeah, it's just when you got a team kind of struggling at home, you kind of want to take it against them, especially when they don't have Kirill Kaprizov either. It's just one of those things where if for Blake it just stings. Last second he lost the puck that could have made it 1-1, and it's just you had a very weird goal with Vinny Hinostroza where somehow, looked like Freddie was trying to flop on it, but I guess maybe Hinostroza beat him to it, or he flopped it in himself. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was just kind of a weird game overall. And I mean,
very weird game. And to the point where it's a weird game, and it was an ESPN game to the point where I actually really loved listening to the ESPN commentators more than I liked watching the game.
Oh yeah, with Mike Monaco and AJ Malesko. Yeah, no, they're really good. I mean, if you're talking about ones you want to listen to outside maybe like Ardo Cal or Kevin Weeks and stuff like that, yeah, Mike and AJ are very good. Yeah, they're always top notch. So I think because I know they did playoffs last year for the Canes too. So yeah, no, they do a great job. I thought it was great how they were calling that game and making it fair. And you definitely talk about both sides too. So
yeah. Unfortunately, with the Wild game, this was another game where I saw a major breakdown in defense, especially by Orlov. To kind of set up a goal here where it really shouldn't have been. So unfortunate there. And I will say, there was a time where I was praising Orlov to the point where I was like, maybe we'll re-sign him. But I recently was with the Storm Cellar and speaking with them, love talking hockey with them. I was like, you know what? Ever since I said that, honestly, ever since the holla hit to the head, his play has gone downhill. He started the season. He was on top of it. He was with the forward rush. His forecheck was there. He was winning all of his battles. Him and Chatfield were like a force to be reckoned with. And then ever since the hit from holla to the head, I don't really know how that maybe affected him, but he's just like, there's been lapse of like defensive awareness, and he's been struggling to get out pucks, and you can see Chatfield is having to cover for him a lot more. And yeah, he still has some of that like offensive push, but it's nowhere near what it was at the beginning of the season. And I'm to the point where I was okay, maybe they'll play around with the idea of re-signing him to something because of how he's playing. And now I'm like, I don't see that happening. If you have players like Morrow and Nikishin coming in, Orlov has now not really made a vote for himself pretty much. Unfortunate, but I would say him and Burnsy are the two defensive liabilities for us at the moment, which is unfortunate on a defensive heavy team.
Yeah, I think you definitely tell that Father Time is definitely catch up to Burns for sure. And Orlov, I mean, if we even past the Minnesota game, if you rewind to the LA Kings game, I mean, you try to pinch Fiala, get absolutely torched, and he goes in and scores. And then then the fourth goal goes in for the Kings, and he basically for the most part, does get sat for the rest of that. It's definitely been weird seeing the downward trajectory of what Orlov has been. Yeah, it's just soft passes, wrong pinching at the wrong time, just a lot of more not so great defensive games that you've seen him from. I mean, Jalen has been absolutely on fire. I mean, scoring against Utah and all of that, and he's just still keeping us plus minus to where it was. Now he's on. Now he's kind of leading the defense in that category. It's just with Orlov. I mean, even with the cap going up and a lot of other contracts coming off, I just like you said, Kat, I just don't really see where. Even if they get him in a lower deal, if that's a fit that they want to go with, because like I said, you got Nikishin and Morrow coming in, or maybe they're like, hey, let's have one of these guys wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Then you could go get someone else. I just don't think you see Orlov or probably Burns back essentially because it'd be 7.75 for Orlov, and I think Burns is 5 points. If I'm reading this right on the screen, 5.2, I believe.
And
it's
crazy to watch. If you watch Chatfield and you watch Orlov right now, you wouldn't think, based on their play, not on their record in the NHL, not on their experience, but based on their play, you would be surprised Orlov is the higher paid defenseman based on play right now, which is wild. So I would see those two are probably, him and Burns are probably the ones, not coming back. And unfortunately for Burns, I think his is a lot of, time catching up to him. I don't think he's a first liner anymore.
Yeah, you can definitely know the drop off for where he broke the record for the most points in a season for a defenseman. It's definitely gone down a little bit. It's not a super huge liability to where it's like, okay, maybe take him off the first line. It's mostly borderline, but I mean, at this point, it's just, hey, we're gonna get. You're kind of weighing that out and maybe seeing hopefully something turns around. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's the thing where it's like, hey, thank you to both of those guys, but I just don't see the Hurricanes bringing them back.
Not with what they have coming up.
No, because you got Morrow, you got Nikishin. Let's also you got Dominic Fensori as well, Dominic Mendica. I mean, maybe if they extend Riley Stillman, they also maybe if they extend Ty Smith. I mean, they have Charles Alexis Legault. I mean, the prospect on the blue line pool is pretty stacked right now. I mean, with the four other guys you have through the next, I would say after this year, you got 2 seasons, especially with with Shane Gostisbehere being on a 3-year deal, he's got 2 more years left after this one. I mean, you're talking about 4 guys that are basically locked together for the next 2 seasons at the minimum. With Chatfield having 2 years left, and then Walker's going to have 4, and then Slavin's going to have I think his contract kicks in his new contract kicks in next year. So he's still got Jacob Slavin's whole new contract next year too. So
yeah.
I think we're going to see more of a prospects coming in next year, if anything else, or at
least as your backup. Like I definitely say Morrow. I've loved to see him. He's been able to come up and play a little bit. We've had a weird 11-on-7 a couple of nights, but from what I've seen his play, he's comfortable, and I can see him very quickly kind of stepping. It's a matter of who's on with who based on right and left. And of course, everyone's very excited about Nikishin. So.
100%.
But back to the Minnesota game. Besides that defensive break, it was kind of the Canes had opportunities. Poor Brandon has just had so many chances and
posts and weird saves,
kind of struggling. Yeah, and it's like, I joke because it's like, welcome to Canes hockey, but it's just like that's just an adjustment. Like even if you're he's still on the Colorado Avalanche, he can still have those moments where like the puck just won't go.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there's a little bit of that game. Unfortunately, this game, Aho and him get hit with pucks in the leg, and you can tell they're stung for a little bit, ranting a little bit more towards the end of the game when the Canes really got that like cardiac Kane last minute push where we've seen them really get that push back and come back in the last few minutes, last few seconds. They almost had it. So literally had one go like across like horizontal, parallel, whatever you say, with the goal line and right near the keeper.
Parallel to the goal line. Well, because if you look at I would say there was like 2 in the last like 10 minutes of the game. Now it's even the last 2 minutes of that third period. Mikko Rantanen like single-handedly basically kept the puck in the O-zone for the Canes and really put pressure on the Wild because it was 6-on-5 for I think it was like 2.5 minutes, and about 2 minutes of that solid was just the Canes playing a lot of shots on net. And I think Mikko Rantanen's Corsi for the Hurricanes is at 68%. Like that's really big for the fact that you're talking about a lot of possession time with him on the ice. It goes to show that the Hurricanes are able to get the puck a lot longer. It's just that's the thing that really stinks is the fact that you saw how hard he's trying, and there's no lack of like, oh, he's not the guy that we thought he was. It's like, no, he's there. It's just unfortunately he just can't catch a break with either unreal goalie saves or hitting the post or the crossbar. I mean, I think even Shane during the Kings and even Tripp during Utah, it's like in the games recently, it's like he could have had 4 or 5 goals easily over the last few games. It's just unfortunate. It's just nothing's gone his way. Like the whole team is snake bitten essentially.
I mean, it's wild. I mean, we had a little look at it just there, but like the last few minutes of the Minnesota game where it was literally takeaway by the Canes, block shot, miss shot, goalie got it. Like it was nonstop. And it was like very much where you just had to get one to sneak in. And I know a lot of people are like, well, it's a little bit of the effort was a little bit too late. And you're right. They stepped it up towards the end. They should have stepped it up sooner periods. It was like they played well enough to do something in the other periods, but the urgency wasn't there until, right when you had to pull the goalie right at the end of the game. So
I mean,
it was just like, okay, let's wipe that Minnesota game. We're on 3 L's at this point. We got to get back to Raleigh and get to that Utah game, and
what a weird
get
start
back in
to
front of your
one.
home fans and get a turnaround, because you cannot go into the break with that record. That's demoralizing, and it's a terrible way to end off with Brendan Moore.
Oh yeah, let's have a 4-game losing streak going into another break, and that's definitely not something you wanted to do. And unfortunately, we didn't have Mikko didn't play that game because I guess lower body was just enough to where they had to sit him out for it. I know poor Bailey goes all the way out from Colorado to go to this game and wants to talk to Mikko, and it's like, first of all, there's no practice, and then he's out for the game. So, but I mean, it stinks that you couldn't really see him, but just the way, like the whole team, I mean, next man up mentality, he's out. You kind of figure out how to do the lines, and wow, Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho, way to get yourselves prepared for 4 Nations, huh? with a 7-point game, like good grief.
And let's honestly start from the beginning. So we were just talking about how great Jalen Chatfield is. He literally he was doing a defensive coverage, and then he steps up seeing that, all right, we got the puck up to Stahl. He's got a break, but he needs someone to kind of give him a little bit of help there. Jalen shoots up the ice from behind the play, gets up there to a point where he can make a play on it and gets that goal. And he got his celly figured out this time for sure.
How about that call for Mike too?
Well deserved.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. How about that call for Mike too, where he goes, what was it, a category 5 for his 5th of the year? And that was a great call. That was very nice. But yeah, I mean, Jalen Chatfield is just one of those unsung guys who's like, maybe he's not going to put up a whole lot of points, but he's someone who's got a high motor, really great sneaky speed. Someone who plays a good 2-way game where he's a little bit more he is offensive to an extent, but just the way his 2-way 200-foot game is, that's why he got that contract where it's a 3x3 and no move, no trade for the first 2 years. A guy that's well deserving of it, and it's just good the fact that it's still paying off for him, at least on the score sheet, and doing a little extra too. So what just phenomenal defensive play, transition, and then scoring the goal. So.
Yeah, unfortunately with the Canes were really all on top of Utah. Like they should have come out with a little bit more in that first, but unfortunately they came out of the first tied 1-1 because of a penalty by Burns, and we get scored on in the power play, unfortunately.
That goal by Josh Dunn, though, gotta give him credit, man. That thing was just properly toe dragged. Nothing you can do about it.
But we come out in the second, and this is the second period Canes that everyone has really come to love, because you've got a power play goal. Thank goodness, breaking that. I don't even know what they did differently fully, because I don't know if it was fully anything super different. But
now they're 3 for 50 something.
But they just need to move around or take that shot. Jarvis takes that shot. Most of the other guys haven't been taking that shot. They've been waiting too long or settling the puck for a second too long. So Jarvis finally gets that power play goal. Must feel like a little bit of a monkey off their back. All right, here we go, boys. And then it just starts to kind of trickle in for the Canes. Aho gets it unassisted because, I mean, honestly, this was Jarvis's game, and everyone was just like, yes, all the Canes are doing well and contributing, but Jarvis really made things happen. Gets that power play goal. Next one, he's going out to the point where he's challenging enough for the goalkeeper to come out, and the goalkeeper comes out enough that, it didn't go to Jarvis, but because Aho stepped up, he was able to finish it because the goalie was out of position.
Veg Melka he was definitely rattled by that one.
I didn't fully agree. So I know a lot of there was that meme of if you're a goalie, tend the goal. I couldn't really agree. I didn't think that was a good one to put it as a meme for, just because I think Veggie was playing the goal the best he could. It was either a one-on-one situation. So he comes out, he wins the puck. Great for him. His defense needed to get back, or someone should have gotten back to cover his clear. And nobody did, and Aho took that advantage. So I would say Veggie kind of got put in no man's land. Either you got stuck with that one-on-one there, or now you've come out, you've won the puck, but the Canes have now.
It's just one of those things where it's it's ding if you do, ding if you don't, because if you don't, then it's Seth Jarvis on a breakaway, and then you try something, and of course your defense just breaks down, and they let Sebastian Aho kind of just break in on his own. So it's just, what do you really do here when it's just a bad defensive breakdown? And you put it to the wrong guy. So
also, if you're watching with us, this little like play by play of it, what's really interesting. So if you watch here, Jarvis is the first one to go down the puck, but then he goes to the side of the goal enough to pull the one defender that is back. He tracks towards Aho a little bit goes towards Jarvis a little bit in Aho's shooting lane, but he really tracks for Jarvis because, okay, that's the next threat there. So it's kind of like Aho goes, all right, I'm going around both of you then. And
the crazy,
what a play by Jarvis to make himself just such a threat in that.
The crazy part, Kat, that's actually Mikhail Sergachev, who used to, former Tampa Bay Lightning. And the fact that you got him tracking you, yeah, that really said something for Seth Jarvis, because Sergachev is no slouch when it comes to the defense. But hey, that's one way to do it. But then, yeah, and then as we've seen it all year, I mean, Clayton Keller, bad turnover at the blue line, breakaway, scores, and this is something that we keep seeing this all the time. Mm-hmm. Is that it's always the goalies keep getting blamed for like just bad play. Why are we having these guys on the net? We have to go get a goalie. Let's go get after John Gibson. Blah 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 blah. But it's not the guys though. Like both of our goalies are well above average in terms of save percentage. Because you brought it up, Kat, like how many episodes ago? It's 901, and both of our guys are over that. And it's just bad turnovers and bad defensive breakdowns.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is another Orlov turnover. If you're watching it, it's an Orlov turnover, which is
because he fanned the shot, and of course you put on a guy like Clayton Keller. It's just, my thing is just we have to stop acting like, oh, well, these goalies aren't it, and it's like, okay, but if you look at their records and looking at their actual numbers, they're well above average. It's just the team's inconsistent still. So the Hurricanes have to go after Gibson. It still doesn't make sense. And I've been seeing like, oh, let's just trade Anderson, or let's just trade Kochetkov. And it's like, no, we do not.
We can keep talking about the goalies, but let's finish up. We'll finish up with the game.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying, yeah,
goalie tip can go forever with us.
Yeah.
But, of course, the next goal will be Aho shorthanded, as we love to do. Honestly, don't give us a power play. Give us a penalty kill. We're more likely to score on the penalty kill.
That pass
from Seth Jarvis. But you get that shorthanded. And what's really awesome is your first three goal scorers are in on this. You've got a shorthanded goal assisted by Chatfield and Jarvis. Love to see it. It really got – I mean, again, Jarvis making –
that
back pass through, knowing Aho is going to be streaking in there. Just knowing where the guy's going to be is – so smart on Jarvis, and I can't wait to see him in Four Nations because of this. And then of course Jarvis goes, I'm gonna score again, and the next one is Seth Jarvis, and everyone just leaves the second period kind of being in a whirlwind of, all right, the Canes, they haven't been able to score for a couple games, they're getting it all out now.
Well, the crazy part too, this was right after we almost had a full-on line brawl with a goalie fight because of whatever was going on with Doan and Svechnikov, and then it looks like Piotr wanted to go out with Veg Velka.
It was
and the refs were like,
Kerfoot laid a hit to Blake where he put a little shoulder into him.
Yeah, there was a few extra pokes and all that stuff.
And then Burns took it up for him and said, nope, not going to mess with our rookie. And then after that, the rest of the guys started going at each other. And then towards the end of the scrum, you're watching all these guys, and then you just kind of see Piotr skate a little bit towards halfway, and you look and you see Veggies coming a little bit halfway. So we got close to a goalie fight.
But unfortunately not the case.
Unfortunately not the case. I don't.
Someday.
It's funny. I don't know why the goalie, like, I don't know if there's any animosity. I think Piotr is just feeling a little left out.
Piotr's just not afraid to drop the mitts because he's done it against the Milwaukee Admirals. He's done it against other teams in the AHL. Like he's just ready to. If you want to throw it down, he's ready to throw it down too. But just the fact that play by Seth to, they win the face-off, he just beats the defender, goes down, and just scores on a nifty play like that. Like, just have a night, Seth Jarvis. Like, what a way to prove the naysayers wrong. Of like, why is he part of Team Canada? Why him? That is the reason why.
Yeah,
nights like that.
Honestly, just going to be so fun to watch.
I mean, that was his second 4-point game this calendar year. Not for the whole season, just this calendar year. He's got 2 4-point games. Unreal.
I think the funniest part of the end of this game, was, of course, Utah scores again, doesn't really put a huge dent in the Canes, but the next two goals I think were the funniest because the next one you get is Martinook scoring, but it's assisted by Jarvis and Aho, both guys that were sitting on potentially a hat trick. So everyone in the Canes were thinking, all right, we got ourselves a hat trick. Not really the case, but it was like one off from being the case. But good on Martinook. He got the empty net goal, kind of just like put the Canes even more like, hey, Utah, you don't even need to pull your goalie. There's no chance you're coming back on this. And then adding one more on top of it, Roslovic gets one, which, I was so close. I thought it was Juha Jaska for a second. I thought we were gonna get a Juha Jaska goal call. Excited. And then no offense to Jack, it would have just been icing on top if Jaska had gotten his first goal. But
yeah, I mean, but just a great pass by him. I mean, hey, that's 4 assists already this year for Juha Jaska. I mean, you could definitely tell why they brought him up because he's definitely one of those Rod Burnmore type guys where he is just fearless, big body, not afraid to, throw some hits. And, the fact that this is his first year in North America and he's playing this well for limited number of ice time. I mean, you really couldn't be happy for a guy like that who's been, coming in mid-20s and, doing what he does every night. And the fact that Rod even says, too, hey, this guy just does the right thing every night. He works hard. So, hey, your role, does it well. I'm praying we see a Juha Jaska goal this season. Just give us one.
I would love it. I just want the goal. I want it to be at home because I want the goal call for it so badly.
Oh man, the roof would blow off the place if Juha Jaska scored in front of the Caniacs. Oh,
you'll be hearing me yelling it for like miles away.
And plus with Wade on the PA too, just absolutely with that. I'm here for it.
But what a game for the Canes to end on going into the Four Nations break, 7-3 versus Utah. That's the kind of game they've been needing to have. That's the kind of game they should have against a team like Utah. I know there's been a lot of discourse because, of course, Rantanen was out on injury, and they're like, well, the Canes are now back. Rantanen was out, and the Canes are now performing how they were before the trade. Is this really a factor? And I'm going to say yes and no. So do I think the previous games, Rantanen was the reason we didn't score and the reason we didn't play well and the reason we weren't winning? No, that's not on him at all. Am I going to say, yes, we won maybe because he's out of it? Maybe it gave a little bit more a different juju because I do think with Rantanen in the lineup, I will say I still think Aho is trying very hard to get his friend to feel comfortable and to feel like he really has a fit in that line. And with Jarvis, they read each other so well and they just know where each other are going to be. They don't force it. They're just like, they're going to be there. You're going to be there. All right. With Rantanen, I think he's just trying to get that chemistry built because they've played before, but it's like, it's been a while. His friends played on another team for 10 years, different style of play. And you just want to like get him going, but to the point where maybe we've pushed or like we've been like, all right, get him the puck, let him score, let him shoot. And it's like, no, just seamlessly let it go. Like, fit him into the plays, but keep doing what's been working. Right. And I feel like that's kind of what we saw in Utah is that the Canes got back to what was working for them. The Jarvis Aho connection, the shorthanded goals, the defense stepping up. No one was trying to push. And even we had a Hattie watch. No one was like, make sure to get these guys the pucks. They're like, Martinook, you got it. Open net, go.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's Rantanen's fault that we were on a losing streak. I do think the Canes were overthinking it. And I think with this break, we'll have a little bit of a reset for everyone to kind of just really get their minds around the trade, get understanding of like who's where, who's playing with who. Feel comfortable.
Because you think about it, because it's like it's been 6 games with Rantanen, and it's he's learned the system because, like you said, he's been in Colorado for so long. That's a run and gun system. He's not used to it. He's been used to that. He's not used to the structure that the Hurricanes have now. I mean, if you think about it too, even the Canes have to get used to his style of play because they're not used to having a guy like him who's one of the top 2 elite power forwards in the game, who can do all these passes that maybe they're not used to. And I mean, he's shooting the puck a lot. Like he's got well over 20 shots. It's just unfortunate circumstances of post, crossbars, unreal goalie saves. What can you do? And there's some forcing there for sure, but it's all going to work out. It just takes time. Like, you can't really expect someone to just be, okay, I'm going to do and score and do all this stuff. When Martin Necas is doing, well, he fits the system because his speed fits a running gun system. And, I mean, let's also be real, too. There's only one Nathan McKinnon. So, I mean, it's just, you can't compare this narrative of like, well, this guy's popping off. How come this guy's not? Well, a lot of different circumstances are going on right now. And I think we really need to pump the brakes on, well, if he's a game changer, he should be already game-changing games. It's like, you can say that all you want, but these things take – I mean, how long have we been saying this? This system is not an easy one to get used to. It takes time. So I think people just need to like get off the edge. It's going to be fine. It's been 6 games. Let this break happen, which I think couldn't come at a better time to give Mikko Rantanen just a quick like breather. Just like, dude, just clear your mind, worry about Four Nations for a bit, come back and be ready. Because
I think
it's been a whirlwind for him.
I think everyone's really interested. Is like, of course, everyone just wants to like, who won the trade? Who won the trade? And a lot of people are also like, who won the trade? Or they want to see their favorite player succeed. Or maybe they want to see their favorite player not succeed so much because they're not on their team anymore. And they're like, you shouldn't have left. I think it's a mix of that. Whereas really it should be, all right, let's see what all these players, give them time to settle into their new teams and see what happens. Because it should work out from all of them. That's the goal, is that it should work out for all of them, because you want all of these guys to play hockey, love playing hockey, and succeed where they're going to be, what new team is going to be on. And I know a lot of people are saying with Rantanen, they're like, okay, well, it doesn't look like he's working. It's only been 6 games. Everyone just needs to be patient, especially like a lot of people. I think now that they're like, well, it didn't work for the Canes right away. And everyone's now sniffing around like, well, what team can have him next? What team would he go with next? And it's like, it's a little wild to me. And I know it's just like, everyone's just like, oh, okay, do we have a chance of acquiring this player now? If he's not succeeding right away, is he going to want to be on my team? Is he going to want to be on this team? Maybe he'll go back to Colorado. I don't see him going back to Colorado, because I feel like if they were going to sign him, why would you even get rid of him? And even with the cap going up, like, I feel like they knew all of this. And so there's not a chance of them. I feel like he'd love to still play with those guys. That's who we grew up. But also, would you go back to a club that just got rid of you? Like, I feel like there's probably a little bit of damage in that relationship between him and
with no heads up. Like, he had no heads up on the road and all this other stuff. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know where this narrative came from all of a sudden to be like, oh, well, if he doesn't sign, maybe the Canes will trade him. And because they have an owner crazy enough to do it. And I'm like, okay, time out. Tom Dundon is not that crazy. Be like, hey, let's go give up all these assets of Nietzsche's Jury and 3 draft picks to rent a guy for, what would you say, Kat? A month and a half, a month and a week. Like, we got up to the end of January, like back into January. Like, it's like, why would you trade a guy with a month and a week?
Why would you trade a guy after you just got rid of 2 assets? You wouldn't have given those up for him to start with.
It makes no sense of where this narrative came from all of a sudden to where, if the Canes can't sign him by March 7th, that they're going to flip him.
There's another point. Another point too is, well, you're like, well, if the Canes don't pay him, there's other teams that can. There might be a few other teams that could pay him, but are those also teams that can pay him, and teams that are probably still going to guarantee him playoff runs? Because the Canes can do both. They can get him the money, but they can also be like, hey, you're going to be on a contender of a team for a while. So I feel like, why would you, even if you're going to get paid, why would you that amount? Why would you want to get paid that amount to go play on like a very low end team, especially when you have just gotten away from 2 contender teams to go play with someone like the Blackhawks? I don't see that happening. I think he's too competitive from what I've seen. But there is a quote from today from Rantanen where I think it was 2 weeks. 2 weeks I was there. So it's too quick to even get settled after a long time in another place. And we were on the road a little bit, so many games. So you just try to focus on the game. So I think it's going to take time. This tournament is obviously nice to see how we can do as a Finnish team. So just try to focus here for now. He just has to have time to adjust. That's the whole thing too. That was what Eric Tulsky was saying for so long too. He's like, we did this now because one of the big selling points of doing this now is to give him time to adjust. He's like, I know it's a big thing. I know it's a big deal. We're really excited. We want to have him here. We're going to do all of our efforts to get him, to keep him here. But that's the point of it, is we want to give as much time as possible to adjust to a new team, a new system, a new place. And that's pretty much what Renton said the whole time. Everyone's like, how are you adjusting? How are you doing? And he's like, I haven't even been to Carolina yet. And even if I'm in Carolina, I'm in a hotel. I'm just trying to get my bearings.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just, like I said, I just don't know where this narrative came from. And I've been seeing it all over the place. And it's just like, can we please pump the brakes on who won the trade? Why is this guy not playing so well? What about this? Oh, well, Murray Nietzsche is playing so well. Maybe we shouldn't have gotten rid of him. And I want to stop you right there. I don't know about you, Cap, but I remember all discourse about Marty Nietzsche last season where no one wanted to keep him. And all of a sudden he pops off this year and everyone acts like that he's the next. I love Marty Nietzsche. You know me. I've been beating on that drum for so long, but it's like, don't change the narrative of how we should never have got rid of him when there was a lot of complaining last season about the guy.
It's a lot of like the grass is greener on the other side. Yes, yeah, that was always the risk of him going to another team, is that he might play really well over there. That was always the risk. And it's going to happen. But he also played really well for us, and he also had some down times with us. It's just him as a player. I hope he continues to succeed over there. It's hard not to with the players he's surrounded by. But to think, oh, we gave away, he's doing all this, we gave that away. You really think he would still get all of those numbers with on our team? Like, you just can't tell that. You're not going to know.
No, it's like I said, that's what I'm saying. We have to pump the brakes on all these ridiculous narratives. Like you said, it's been 6 games, Cal. Like, tell me, have you ever gone to a job and immediately clicked right away 5-6 days into your new job that you
No, most new jobs have a training period for a couple weeks.
Right. Let's say you've been somewhere for 10 years and you're like, okay, hey, we're going to send you to this company now. All of a sudden, no warning, no nothing. Oh, and you got to move across the country. You're like, guys, let's just let this play out. And Mike has said it. Shane has said it. We've talked to a bunch of other people that said it too. The way you're going to grade this trade is how the team's doing the playoffs. Mm-hmm. 6 games into a trade is not going to tell you anything.
Well, going off of that and going off of into the Four Nations, I got one more quote from Aho, of course, as we go into who's going to be playing with Rantanen in the Four Nations. Yeah. But Aho did say on the trade, I can only imagine that it's been emotionally tough. I was not even involved in the trade, and I can only imagine what he goes through and all the players that were involved. It's a big life change. Unfortunately, I haven't gone through that, but I heard it's quite a shock. So I think this is a good opportunity to kind of reset kind of everything. After the tournament, we go back, and either way, this could be a good mental break from all that business side and just play and go from there. I mean, this is a guy that one of the A's of the Carolina Hurricanes literally just got married. He knew how crazy this was. He offered Rantanen to stay with him. This man's just got married. Like, he has his place to himself and his wife for once. And he's like, hey, you can come stay with me. I totally understand. This has been crazy. And Rantanen was like, no, I understand you need your space. Like, I don't want to impose. I'm a big guy. I can take care of myself. But Aho knew how crazy this was. Like, he was like, everyone was like overnight. That's how we did the live show then. And it just went wild because no one was expecting any of this, let alone the players. I think maybe only Taylor Hall knew. But
yeah, it's what it seemed like. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just that's a big change, and it's not, like I said, it's not his fault that the team was sick and they were on the road and all this bunch of other stuff. Like, it takes time, so it's like it's gonna work out fine. And people are like, well, he might not sound like Gensel. Cap situation is completely different, and like we talked about, the Hurricanes are top 6 this upcoming offseason. They're gonna be top 6 in open payroll. Like, the Canes are, like you said, 1 are going to be a contender, and 2 have the money to sign him and go get other assets to build around him. So this narrative of, he's not going to come back to Carolina, hey, I'm not saying it's 0, but I have a pretty good feeling that it's going to work out. It's just we got to let this play out.
Yes. But speaking of our 2 Finnish players playing on the Four Nations, let's get into the Four Nations talk, because I mean, that's the new thing. It's starting tomorrow.
Yep.
First game, And we all are going to be tuned into the same hockey games. We won't have to wait and have 3 games all at 7:30. They'll all be played to where we can all see them.
Yeah,
really
pretty much.
excited. But yeah, so looking at the face-off schedule, of course, in Montreal, starting tomorrow, you have Canada versus Sweden at 8:00. Thursday, you'll have US versus Finland. And then Saturday, you have Finland versus Sweden, United States versus Canada. And then we move over to Boston. On Monday, you've got Canada versus Finland, Sweden versus the United States. And then the championship game will be at the end of the week on Thursday. First game you're going to see is Seth Jarvis. I love that. The first game you're going to see is what is Seth Jarvis doing? And everyone, of course, talking about what he's sitting on the bench between Crosby and McDavid.
Sitting in the stall with right next to those two guys, and it looks like he's already just mucking it up and talking with Brad Marchand, which you knew Marchand was already excited to have him on the team, so it's kind of cool just to see all the content. But hey, the fact that you get to watch these games on TNT, ESPN, all that stuff, it's going to be a lot of fun just to see how what's this best on best going to be. And I'm really curious too, because we know what the All-Star break is like. It's glorified pond hockey, but are we going to get I'm not going to see these guys are going to go 100% full out, but
no, but every GM is going to be scared.
Oh, they're going to be scared, but I think this is also going to be where these guys are going to take this seriously, to where it's not what we've seen in the past, where it's just, okay, the score is 12-11. There's no defense. I could see this being
it's going to be more serious than All-Star, because your country pride's on the line.
I think this is going to be more of 4-3, 3-2 type games, not 12-10s. So, but yeah, I'm super excited for this. I'm really curious to see how it goes. So before we jump into the actual schedule, I want to ask you though, what would you say is your favorite jersey, and you're kind of this could have done a little bit more work?
I don't really have a disagreement on any of them. All of 4 jerseys they honor their countries very well. They have little details that you can just show there's a lot of thought and effort put into them. I don't really have one that I dislike.
I'm not saying dislike, but I'm not saying dislike, but more of they're coming a little bit more to it. It's okay, but there was more room to.
I mean, I guess if anything, Sweden is the one that doesn't really take my full attention. Right. I really, and as USA as I can be, I really love Canada's. I love Canada's, and if you look closely at it, it's got the embroidered leaves on it and stuff. It's just so classic looking to me.
It's the crest is a lot better than the ones in the past where it was a half leaf with that weird fan looking logo that they did before. But yeah, Canada's is pretty clean. I do like the fact of the striping they have, and then just slap a big Canada leaf on it. That is nice. But
what about you?
Finland. The Finland jerseys just look so nice. Because you got the white.
Oh, I thought you were saying that's the one you were at least impressed by.
Oh no, I love the Finland jerseys. I think those are probably the best ones. I like the number font, how even the color on the font looks really nice. I like how the sleeves look, because you got the white, but then you got that dark blue over that, a little bit of that light blue. It just looks really nice. I kind of like Sweden's just because the fact that you do have when you kind of put it together, it almost looks like the Swedish flag in the sleeves. And I mean the 3 crowns. It's just so iconic. You kind of know, okay, yeah, this is definitely Sweden. For me, it's I wish the USA was a little bit more oomph to the front of it, because it's just the way it just says USA across the front. That's kind of it. I do like the smaller, minute details of it, but I don't know. I kind of wish USA was a little bit. I wish they did a little bit more to the front of it rather than just having USA and it's just a blue jersey with a couple of stripes. But I mean
if you look at it, it's funny. The only one that doesn't have words across it is the Sweden one.
So yeah, Sweden didn't get the memo of hey, let's put some wording on the front of it. But I mean, that's Sweden. They've always gone with the 3 crowns. Yeah. But I'm not saying the USA is the worst. It's just kind of I kind of wish there was a little bit more to the front of it. But it's nice. But yeah, Finland's is just so clean. They just do such a great job with it. But
yeah. So now we looked at the jerseys. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rosters, because obviously they're jam-packed.
Yeah.
Canada's got a fun little
A fun little lineup.
fun little lineup. So I did love, there was a nice little read on the score where it was like why each team will or won't win the Four Nations face off. And I did agree
Yeah.
with a lot of their points. So I do want to bring this up. So Canada has this fun little scenario of too many great centers. Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. But the fact that you have McDavid as your second and the fact that you have Sidney Crosby as your third line is insane.
I think it was Coach Chippy put a video on it, and they're like, just the way he does the video, just like talking about that, it's insane. It's like, wait, we're putting McDavid on the second line? That dude's never been on the second line in his life.
Yeah.
And it was like Crosby on the third? Yeah, like it's absolutely bonkers when you look at the roster. I mean, it's probably changed now because we're looking at the Puckpedia thing. But you have it's just wild that you initially had McDavid on the second line. It's like, wait, what are we doing here? It was just bonkers how that kind of looked. But yeah, now according to Puckpedia, it's Crosby with McKinnon and Stone as your second.
Yeah, it looks like they've switched it up a little bit.
That third line though, that is going to be such a hard line to be like, all right, how do we stop this? Brad Marchand with Braden Point and Seth Jarvis. Good grief.
I'm sorry, just for injury alone, I feel like Stone should switch with Jarvis. That is my hot take.
But honestly,
to see Jarvis play with McKinnon and Crosby, that would be so
that would be nuts if they had Jarvis with us. I mean, he would pop off, but the fact you got him with Marchand and Braden Point, like, oh my goodness, that is a very, very sneaky third line. But I mean, that first D pair is just so unreal. Devon Taves and Cale Makar, like you literally just put the two Avs guys together in defense and be like, all right, do what you usually do, and just that's
so Canada is super stacked, of course. The one downside for them is they've got all that offensive power. Their downside is their goaltending.
It is the out of the four, probably the weakest out of the entire.
It's the weakest, and I think Bennington has got the call to be the starter.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. But what's also really interesting is that if you have those three and then you struggle in goaltending after you left, what's his name?
Logan Thompson,
who's been playing outstanding. And they said they left him out because of things that happened in Vegas, and I guess personal things, which is wild. But if you risk your country not winning this because you didn't choose a goalie because of personal things, that's insane to me.
Kat, that's
also you pick Bennington. If you say personal things and you pick Bennington,
yeah, that's Hockey Canada being Hockey Canada, because we saw what happened in the last two World Juniors. They can't get out of their own way for personal reasons, and now they're going to do the Logan Thompson, who's probably one of the top 5 goalies in the league right now, who's basically the reason why the Capitals are the Capitals outside of Ovi and PLD and Strome and all those guys. Mm-hmm. To keep him off, like, I'm sorry, nothing against Sam Montembeault, but you're putting a Canadians goalie who, let's be honest, the Canadians are not that great over him. And Aiden Hill's good, but Jordan Bennington has not been Bennington since they won the Cup. Like, he had a half-season run, and he's been kind of okay after that. To keep off one of the best goalies for personal reasons, that's so beyond petty, and it's not the petty where you kind of chuckle and laugh about it. That's like, what are we doing here?
It'll be a little interesting for Canada, too, because if that is their Achilles heel of sorts, and
with all these other stacked rosters, you really put yourself in a bad spot.
Yeah, if that's their Achilles heel, but also if they go down in this tournament, and they don't come away, like, this is probably your last chance to have Crosby. One of your last chances to have Crosby and McDavid and McKinnon, like, to have them all together on a team like this. And if you blow that chance because you didn't pick a goaltender for some dumb reason
in Vegas. And the thing is, the Boar is with Dallas now. Like, he's not even with Vegas. Like, this is the crazy part. This is old history from like a few seasons ago. Like, if you're not past that now, you're putting yourself into like, even like Brad and Ray from Storm Hill are like, Yeah, Canada is going to be in deep trouble if they can't keep pucks out of the net. Yeah, they can score as much as they want, but if they can't stop the puck, that firepower ain't going to do you very good.
Yeah. So going off next, looking at, I'm going to say Finland up next.
Okay.
Finland, of course, it has our two boys in Sebastian Aho and Rantanen, of course. And they've also got a couple of other familiar faces. Hala has made it.
Who? Who?
Hala.
Never heard of him, but okay.
Love to see Teuvo Teravainen.
Yep. Barkov's there.
Rantanen will say a familiar face in Lehkonen. There's Laine, Capo. Like, it's all names that are they pop off around the league all the time.
How about a turnaround for Capo Caca, going from being like a scapegoat, we want you out in New York, to goes to Seattle, pops off there, and makes Team Finland, and has been playing absolutely out of his mind. What a come up for that kid. Like, way to prove the doubters wrong.
Yeah. What's interesting for them is, so Finland's always kind of a pretty big force when it comes for their country in hockey. But one of where Canada might be their Achilles heel, might be their goaltending, Finland, theirs might be their defense, because they do have two injuries in Miro Heiskanen and Jani Hakanpää.
Losing Heiskanen was such. I'm sorry, that was not a trip. I'm just going to leave it there. But losing the Heiskanen at the wrong time was such a bad. That sucks for Team Finland, because now you lose him, you lose Hakanpää. Nothing against the other guys, but once you go past Mikkola and Lindell, Välimäki is good. I'll give him Välimäki, but you're talking 3 of your 6. That's tough. That is a tough sledding for that defense.
Yeah. Their goalies still aren't like the most impressive to me either.
Hey, UC Saros, you can't overlook that guy. I mean, the Predators are bad, but it's not UC Saros. It's the team in front of them.
Yeah.
So I give it, and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I mean, UPL he's been playing really good this season too. It's just not his fault that the Sabres are the Sabres. But I wouldn't say goaltending is their issue, because their goalies are really
it's not good. It's not their issue. I'm just saying it's not the strongest.
Oh no, it's not. Opinion. I mean, honestly, hot take, it's better than Canada's. It's better than Canada. So
I think it's better than Canada. I think, honestly, we'll get to it, but I think the US and then Sweden have the top goaltendings.
I would say USA is for sure, but we'll talk about it. Yeah, I think it's for Finland, it's just the defense, because you got to hope all these guys stay healthy, because they've lost a lot of bodies recently. And for me, it's like, I'm curious of how, because you look at the lines, you got Hintz with Aho and Laine. I think they're going to they want to tap into the Aho Laine kind of side of things too. And I'm really interested to see how that's going to work out. Teuvo on the fourth line with Holland and Armia. Okay. We'll see how it works. But it's that third line for me of Luosterainen, Lundell, and Granlund. That is going to be such a line that's going to put a lot of hits, but also might be sneaky and scoring too. So, yeah, I would not put it past Finland to maybe pull some upsets, because I know a lot of people are overlooking these guys. And I'm like, I would not count out Finland.
I think it would be an upset if they won the whole thing, but there's a possibility for anything.
Hey, wouldn't be upset about it. I mean, Finland's is always a sneaky team that will kind of shock a lot of people. I mean, they do in the World Juniors. So,
but looking to the next one, you've got Sweden.
Okay. They've lost some bodies too, unfortunately, as well.
Yeah, they have firepower. I don't think their firepower compares to Canada's. It's some guys where it's got some guys that are hot, and then it's got some guys that have been hot, but this season not so much.
Yeah. Well, because the bad thing for Sweden, they lost Markstrom at the wrong time. I mean, we all know how good Philip Gustafsson is. I mean, just coming from the Canes games, he's kind of had our number. But Linus Ullmark, I mean, he's got the Senators in a playoff spot right now. So I think Sweden's got really good goaltending. Like you said, I wouldn't even say two. The defense is kind of Hedman and Carlson are kind of up there in age. Ekholm's okay. How's Anderson and Dahlin going to be together? Brodin just came back from injury, so you got to hope that he does well. It's just, like I said, it's that how good is their scoring? Because
I think they have some good defense on Sweden. I think
the defense is okay, but I mean, it's a little bit of a question mark with some of the age. It's just, I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, but it's not like you said, they're not going all out. So like not going all out, the age isn't going to be that big a deal.
Yeah. My whole thing is like, why is Forsberg on the second line? You would think you would put him up a little bit farther up, put him with Marner, with Nylander, but I mean, I'm curious to see how Zibanejad's going to do, because he hasn't really been playing that well for the Rangers. And then Pettersson with the whole saga that's been going on. I don't know.
Oh, I want to see a fight. I want to see the fight between the two of them so badly.
Oh, between Pettersson and Miller, that would be bonkers.
I need it.
Yeah,
the whole hockey world needs it.
Yeah. Sweden's going to be a very interesting team of how they're going to. I'm curious to see how their scoring is going to be with the, how these lines are going to work out together. But it'll be very interesting.
It's all of like, I don't know. Sweden has ones like, I feel like they pop off and they can do really well in their teams. I don't know how well they're going to play together, and if they catch.
There's a lot of turmoil.
It's a lot of
there's a lot of noise. It's a lot of noise around Sweden.
A lot of noise around Sweden. So let's go ahead and talk about everyone's favorites, the United States.
Everyone's favorite Suns.
But what's really fun is look at that first defensive pairing.
Oh yeah, how about that? It's,
what could have been if Fox wasn't such a beach and didn't want to play with us.
Yeah, I heard a lot of what could have been if it was Slavin and Fox together. But I mean, Zach Werenski, how about a season for that guy? I mean, honestly, Norris wouldn't be upset about it. Charlie McAvoy, I mean, it's McAvoy. We're not really surprised here. Hannafin, former Kane. I mean, Brock Faber. I mean, it's Brock Faber. Like, honestly, for me, Kat,
Zach's reasoning for guys, he just says their last name, like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
That's enough. That's enough reasoning. Just say their last name again.
Yeah, it's Brock Faber. Why not? Because let's be honest, like the United States, we haven't talked about the forwards and goaltending yet. This is probably one of the most stacked rosters out of the entire tournament, and they have not lost anyone. Knock on wood. But look at the goaltending alone is insane. You got Connor Hellebuyck as your starter, Jake Ottinger's your backup, and oh hey, there's this guy called Jeremy Swayman.
Okay, well they technically have lost some. Quinn Hughes has gone out for injury for the United States. So that
okay, yeah. There is one loss. I forgot that was more of a recent one, but I mean still though, with that defense, even without Quinn Hughes, that defense is still pretty nasty. But like I said, you have Hellebuyck, Ottinger, and Swayman as your three. My goodness, even like their third string in air quotes.
Honestly,
is better than all of Canada.
Honestly, you might as well call the U.S. team the team of bitches, because we have the Tkachuk brothers, we have Vincent Trocheck, we have Austin Matthew. Like anyone here can just like go ahead. Like they're them against Marchand and the four, like they will win. But like
it's just an insane line for the fact that you have Kyle Connor, Eichel, and Matthew Tkachuk as your first line, and then you got Gensel, Matthews, Jack Hughes. It's crazy when you look at that. When you look at that group, you're like, how is that USA lineup so stacked that you got the other Tkachuk brother with JT Miller and Matt Boldy? That is such a we're gonna punch you in the face line with just those three guys.
It's a little interesting that Matthew. I know some people will be like, well, why is Matthews not the top center? Because of the two of them, Eichel is having a better season. So not really surprised at that point. But this whole lineup is just wild. It feels like a fever dream that someone goes, let me just craft a starting lineup for my team on Chell.
Dylan Larkin with Trocheck.
Yeah.
So
honestly, the U.S. team is very, very well rounded.
They're very deep, and that USA team is going to be a problem for a lot of people.
Pretty much for them, with how like great the U.S. is like set to win this thing, it's pretty much just like, if they don't, or if something happens, it's like if hockey does hockey. Like if they have bad puck luck, if the coaching doesn't go well,
stay out of the box. They need to stay out of the box.
Yeah, the box is going to be a thing. This could be a golden era for U.S. hockey. But if hockey is something could go wrong, and they might not. And I mean, Canada is all set up to, take it, but hockey might hockey.
Well, for Canada, it's all offense, and you kind of hope goaltending kind of saves you in the defense a little bit too.
It's the West. It's how the Western teams operate. Is how Canada
is. All gas, no brakes. Hopefully, we just shoot you out the barn basically. And the U.S., it's just a stacked team,
well-rounded.
Well-rounded. Yeah, if we're talking about what could be the problem for Team USA outside of with Canada with their goaltending, how is Finland going to do with a lot of the injuries and trying camaraderie? How Sweden going to be, because it's a kind of a lot of noise around them with a bunch of guys. USA staying out of the box. That's going to be their big issue. Can you get both Tkachuk brothers and Trocheck and Miller and probably maybe McAvoy and Fox to stay out of the box? Yeah. If you don't take a bunch of dumb penalties, then you probably run away with this thing. It's just playing smart hockey.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. We're going into this, coming off some injuries. It was almost questionable for a second if Crosby was going to make it. So love to see that he is going into it. We're excited to see Slavin, Jarvis, Aho, and Rantanen represent for the Canes. Very big honors. I'm honestly just excited to see how the chemistry goes with these teams and see how the superstars play with the superstars. And if there's going to be any fights, Jarvis might fight Aho.
That would be hilarious, and I hope it happens. Honestly, I'm hoping that we get more.
If anything, you'll get some funny faces from Jarvis as he chirps.
100%. For me, it's more of like I really hope that this is like I think this is going to be bigger than the glorified pond hockey of the All-Star game, but I don't think it's going to be like what we see in the playoffs. I think we're going to see somewhere in the middle. And if we get that, I think this is going to be a fun tournament to watch. Of these guys are going to care enough, but it's not going to be either one guy's getting hurt or it's a snoozer with no one decided to show up and it's 12-11.
Yeah. So as we talked about all of these and we gave some opinions on it, we did have our own predictions on how the medaling was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I love that we give a fourth place medal. We differed a little bit.
a little bit.
So for first place, I put Canada. Yes, that goaltending's a little iffy.
Yeah, I was gonna say you just shredded the goaltending, but it's like, you know what? Outscore the other team. It's fine.
No, well, okay. Let me just say, you've got Nathan McKinnon. You've got Sidney Crosby.
Yes.
You've got Connor McDavid. You have guys who are used to having not so great goaltending behind them and doing their job anyway. And the fact that you put all three of them together with people setting them up like Marchand, Jarvis, Sam Bennett, Sam Reinhart, Point. You have all of these added features, and you have defense that also plays defense, but is also an offensive powerhouse. I think it really depends. And maybe these goaltenders, they're not playing a whole bunch of games. Maybe they'll pop off. So I think with the powerhouse that is especially those three big names of superstars in that lineup, you just kind of feel like Canada has that edge.
No, I understand. Honestly, though, if we're talking about the goaltend, they should talk about guys who should be there. Why wasn't Marc-Andre Fleury picked? Give him one last run, man. Why not? You talk about goal. Guys didn't really have great goaltending behind them. Sidney Crosby did have Marc-Andre Fleury at one point. So, that would be a nice little swan song for Flower going into this. But I get what you're saying. It's just, you got to hope that basically Canada has to shoot the lights out and they get some saves, essentially.
And you picked USA, which you've already kind of said why.
Well-rounded, deepest team. Goaltending is absolutely insanely good. Yeah, it's just as long as their system fits for USA, where they all work together, and it's not there's no ego trips going on, which I don't think there's going to be. It's just playing smart hockey. Just don't take penalties. If you stay out of the box and you're not always constantly on the PK, I think USA is going to have no issues with taking care of business, because it's just you have the really good, well-rounded defense. Offense, you got firepower and guys who can make plays. and you have a 1-2-3 in goaltending, that teams will love to have the third guy as their main goalie. So it's basically, I wouldn't say it's USA's to lose, but I think they have the better probability of winning this whole thing.
Yeah. Obviously I picked USA as silver, and then I picked we both have the same fourth place. We both think Sweden's going to struggle a little bit in this one. Yeah. But I've got USA in silver, and I've got Finland in third. You put Finland above Canada.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think for me, I know we talked about Finland a little bit, and I have a feeling that this is going to be a Finland team that's going to shock a lot of people. They're going to be like, okay, yes, maybe the defense isn't maybe 100%. Yeah, maybe how is the offense going to be? I mean, they do have some pretty decent goaltending. Yeah, it's Saros and Pekka Luukkonen, and they're not the greatest teams right now, but I think that they're still a pretty good 1-2 punch in terms of that. I just think this could be anyone could beat anyone, and we could see some shockers. And I think this is possibly a shocker where it's, hey, here's Finland, shocking the world a little bit, at least making it to the championship, and just falling just short. I mean, we've seen Canada fall short recently. Maybe it's a trend that's going to keep going because we've talked about it. That goaltending gives me a lot of pause. I could see 2 and 3 being flipped, but that's just, how is goaltending going to be for Canada and Sweden? We talked about it. A lot of question marks, a lot of noise. How is that really going to play out for them?
And I know our wonderful paid intern will probably post our predictions and put these up there, and also with this video. Please comment and let us know who you guys are predicting will win the Four Nations face-off. How do you think people will do? Your justification for why. Love to hear it. But
yay, paid intern. Woo!
Yay, paid intern.
He's finally paid now, guys. He's finally paid now.
We could keep talking. We do have a few more things to cover before we wrap up our live stream here, but we do got to take a quick second to talk about our wonderful sponsors, of course. And at first, we're going to start with DraftKings. The NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going, but that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out and games left for you to get in action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. I'm going to tell you right now, picking the Canes is stressful, but do what you want. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's where the fun is. Honestly.
Yeah. Honestly.
Go when you're first there. Go wild with some of those bonus bets, because then you really get the feel of things. You can be able to see like, okay, this is how it works. This is where I feel comfortable with. Fully support that. But download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. I fully suggest trying it out. It's not for everyone. Hockey is super stressful.
Yeah. A little
Hockey
bit.
is super stressful. I literally had one at one point. I think I tried something and I almost got it. And some of it was just waiting on shots for guys. And you know what's the most stressful is when you bet on guys who have an amount of shots. And normally they'll have I think the one I was waiting on was Eichel to have 3 shots. Mm-hmm. Well, the Knights that game were winning 5-0. You know how many shots Eichel had? 1. It's almost worse when they're winning by a ton, because then they're not caring to shoot a lot. Right. So it was I was literally just watching it tick by, and I was like, no, it's somehow the worst game to ask for shots. But
yeah, again, unfortunately down here, where I'm at, we don't bet. We're not allowed to. So I live vicariously through everyone else.
Well, it's another reason to stress over hockey. So if you want another reason to stress over your favorite team or betting against your least favorite team, try out DraftKings, and again, use the code THPN. But if you're looking for another local sponsor for our podcast that has been around for quite a while, I think Zach's got a few things to tell you.
I mean, Primo X Hockey only has been our OG sponsors even before episode 1 back in 2022. We are now on 3 years with Primo X Hockey being one of our main sponsors, and cannot say enough about those guys. If you go to PrimoXHockey.com, go to checkout, use code the SurgeCast, you get 20% off your order, and they also got free shipping, and they also get internationally too. And the thing is, they are open Monday through Saturday, occasionally on some Sundays. But the good thing too is, $5 skate sharpings. If you need to get your skate sharpened, go check them out. They're at 1401 Diggs Drive, Suite E, 15 minutes from the arena. Basically you're helping out fellow season ticket members for the Hurricanes. And like I said, just a great group. If you're looking for sticks, indoor, outdoor pucks, tape, laces, they even got really sick merch too. We're talking hats, flags, t-shirts, koozies, whatever you can think of, man, they got it, and so much more. I'm just glad they've been with us for this long. I can't believe it's been 3 years, Kat, that we've had Primo X Hockey.
Honestly, the paid intern and me are going to try to get some skating under our belts, because we eventually maybe want to do a beer league. And I said
they do sell skates there too. So
yeah, so I know when we're finally going to be getting into some of that stuff, and we need a deal, and we need a local, we're going to Primo. So
the thing too is, like, they actually have it in store. You can go to their store too. Like I say, if you go to 1401, get your skate sharpened there. They have an inside store. Let them know that you heard about them through us at the SurgeCast. Like I said, they've been with us for 3 years now. Great group. They have a lot of great stuff. Like I said, you got stick tape. They got laces, skates, sticks, helmets, anything you can think of. They pretty much got it there. And they've been doing it all the right way. So, yeah, basically, just go check out Primo X Hockey. Shop local, support local, and you're helping out fellow season ticket members. Why not? Why not? And big thank you to those guys for being here with us for so long.
Yeah, and then, of course, I want to I said it at the top of the show, but I also want to do a reminder, is that we now do partner with the NHL Shop. And guys, there's a bunch of fun things. I mean, you've got the Four Nations gear. I know the jerseys are a little much, but if you're looking for a t-shirt, a hat, anything that fits your fancy, or hey, maybe you have Christmas money left over somehow, and you want to splurge a little bit, or it's someone's birthday gift and you do want one of those awesome jerseys, I definitely do. A Jarvis Canada jersey would be. But also, if you have fans of, some of the stuff for the stadium series also is really awesome. Unfortunately, they don't have like the Red Wings helmets, which I think is the coolest thing. But if you're looking for anything throughout the year, it could be for one of these big events for the NHL, or just throughout the year, you want some more gear. If you use our link for the NHL Shop, you're helping support your favorite podcast, which we really appreciate. Guys, we really don't do this for anything except the love of talking hockey. Yeah. But if we had a little bit of help on the back end, is even more fun talking hockey. And honestly, it's not anything different. You go to the link, it's just like normal ordering. So yeah, help out your favorite hockey podcast. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you to all our wonderful sponsors. We wouldn't be here without them. And we do also need to put a wonderful shout out to our Hockey Podcast Network, who allows us to do fun little live shows and podcasts and things like this. Normally one of our bosses would probably be popping in here at this time. But I think he's still on vacation.
Oh, well, speaking
well,
of
just
said
kidding.
boss,
this man doesn't take vacation, apparently.
Dang it, Kyle. What are you doing? Hey, my name's Kyle.
He's going to cheer. Well, he's got to listen. Kyle, I bet it's really fun to be able to cheer for Canada over cheering for the Flames, because you got a high chance of winning, my friend.
yeah. But speaking of another person who commented, hey, look at that, Bailey Curtis. Who would have thought? Bailey, come on. What you got nothing going on. But look, of course she's agreeing with me. Stop it right now. I'm so sick of you two being twins, even while doing this. Good grief. Hey, apparently Kyle's having a fun time freezing his butt off in Calgary. Hey, That's on you, man, for doing.
Oh, so you're just taking a vacation from us. You're not really taking a relaxing vacation. Good to know.
It's a staycation. That's what he's doing, a staycation in good old freezing Calgary. Because why not? Why not? But Bailey, come on, you know you want to join us. Like, you got nothing else going on tonight. What are you doing? Come on.
But we do have to get to our last bit for this episode. Is going to be the NHL award predictions. Our lovely paid intern has put together our predictions, as this has been like kind of popping up. We have time. We don't have a lot of games to talk about now. We can talk about things across the league. So with the NHL awards, so for the first one, which I'm looking at, for the President's Trophy, the most cursed trophy, but also a great honor and privilege, we did differ on this one.
A little bit.
But we also went for the two top teams.
I mean,
so Zach, you have the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, you got Connor Hellebuyck in net. He's basically like the best goalie right now. It's kind of tough for me to see. The Capitals are kind of there, but for me, it's like I don't really see anyone mainly touching the Jets unless they kind of just fall off a cliff. Can't really bet against a team who's basically just showing up and just smacking everyone around at this point. So, but I mean, you got the Capitals though. I mean,
I would agree, except I would say the Capitals are also that team. Like they
are. They're that team
they're
too.
Only one. I mean, currently they're only 1 point behind with one less game played.
That's fair. I mean, like I said, with these two teams, do we really see anyone catching them? But
look, Bailey's throwing you a bone. She agrees with you.
What? Hey! For the first time in a while, she agrees with me on something. Hey, you know what? There's a first time for everything. At least it's with that. But yeah, I mean, it's a toss. Honestly, Cat's a toss up. Either one of these two teams could really take the President's Trophy. It's just who wants it more.
Yep. And honestly, who wants the curse more?
I mean, that's fair. But
if another team came up, like the next closest team is the Stars, and I don't see them taking it, so it's going to be between one of these two. And I just think the Caps have just kind of swept in and surprised everyone.
Yeah, who would have thought? Yeah, who would have thought it would have been the Capitals of all teams? Be like, hey, all you guys thought we were going to finish the bottom half in the Metro. Well, surprise, we're going for a President's Trophy run because why not? Apparently,
yes, and also, I sneezed and that made me think of this. But I did talk about I sneezed and I realized what my sleeves. I know I just talked about the NHL shop and everything, but I do want to point out what'll be really fun is, so I obviously didn't go to this, but with the Winter Classic, they do have some branded Lululemon gear. And it's beautiful and so comfortable, and where all my money will go when the Canes finally get their Lululemon gear. Oh my word.
Oh, could you imagine the sales the Hurricanes are going to pull off with everyone down there in Raleigh or wherever the Hurricanes fans are at?
Yeah.
Just buying Lululemon Canes gear.
Listen, I've had one piece of Lululemon that was gifted to me, and I know it's pricey, and I won't go through leggings too much for me to actually like buy that all the time. But like this crop sweatshirt with like
it's got the
holes for the fingers. It's not branded really heavily for either team. It just says Winter Classic. Wrigley Field.
It's still pretty
so comfortable. And so if you are checking out things again on the NHL shop, you can use our link, but go check out the Lululemon stuff. And again, they do have deals on this stuff. I know you're like, the NHL shop is expensive. Yes, but
they do have some deals occasionally.
Use the deals, and it's even better. You'll be like, yes, like you don't need it right away. Get it when it's on sale.
But
that's honestly, my philosophy.
Yeah, I will say, what's a game changer about your hoodie and the fact that you got the holes in the sleeves? That is such a clutch.
And there's a little pocket in my pocket for me to put like my phone or headphones or something.
Hey, I know you like pockets. We're gonna put a pocket inside of a pocket, but no, it just reminds me of like going to
every woman loves that. Give us more pockets. We need more pockets because you're telling us we can't bring bags into places, and you already don't give us pockets. Give us more pockets. Anyway,
right.
Sorry.
It just the sleeves thing, the fingers thing reminds me of going to like Warped Tour and like having those type of hoodies where you just go and kind of like, hey, I just want to keep I want to keep the sleeves down, but I want to do that. So it reminds me of going to Warped Tour.
So
for those who know. So
yeah, but anyway, sorry. Go back to our NHL award predictions. My bad. Sorry,
I feel bad. I feel bad for the paid intern. He's kind of like, stick to the script. Dang it! What are we doing?
Well, he helped me get this sweatshirt, so he understands why I'm so excited about it. Anyway,
that's true.
Going on to the Hart trophy.
Heart.
This is also where we differ.
Yes.
I'm choosing Nathan MacKinnon.
I am so surprised. Nathan MacKinnon. Who could have thought?
I mean, he's having a very good season.
It's Nathan MacKinnon.
I know. Why did you choose yours?
So I could have went with McKinnon. I could have went with McDavid and Kucherov. For me, I'm kind of like, because the Hart is like, it's who's the MVP for their team. And I kind of looked at it as like, okay, who's doing really well for their team, but maybe is playing into that. Hey, the team's not doing great, but he's doing really well for them. And I feel like that I'm not surprised Bailey would agree with. Shocker. Who is shocked? Not me.
Oh.
For the fact that because you look, Pasternak is like, you're talking about a guy who's top 10 in points, and he's doing it on a Boston Bruins team that's not really playing all that great. So I think that they're still in the hunt for a playoff spot. Yes, they're a little bit of a wild card, but you're talking about a guy who's on a struggling team who's still showing out. That to me is an MVP, not, oh, hey, this guy has the most points in the entire NHL, let's just give it to him. The MVP is are you most valuable for your team? For me, that's David Pastrnak. I'm going by what the actual term of the trophy is. We have a points trophy for a reason.
Okay. But I wasn't basing it off of points. I mean, yeah.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying the actual voters
the points are there, but also the Avs haven't been doing like crazy great this season, and he has been pulling them along. So I think
both of them are correct. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with either one. I just feel like, thinking a little bit outside of the box of like what a true MVP is for his team. And right now, I mean, Colorado is doing a little bit better than Boston. That's why I feel like Pastrnak might be that guy. But that's just me, though. I mean, heck, I can see McKinnon winning it. I mean, let's be honest. It's Nathan MacKinnon. Heck, I can see Cale Makar winning this dang thing.
Oh, we have another one for that. So with the rest of these predictions, we were in sync, though. For
just a little bit.
Yeah. For the Norris, we both put Makar because, let's be honest, it's about what defenseman scores the most points.
Disclaimer, though, I know we both mentioned it in our group chat. Zach Werenski would not be.
We both want Zach Werenski so badly for this, actually. Like, if it was him, I would love it. I really think they should take out like his breakout with the team that he's on. I think they should take that into account
because he's finally healthy and playing really well.
But I'm starting to understand how these people vote, and so it probably will be Cale Makar.
But yeah, it should be Zach Werenski. Let's be honest, it should be. If we're going by actual what definition of this trophy should be, yeah, it's him because he's finally healthy, having a massive breakout season, having a huge home point streak run. That's insane. Zach Werenski is a definition of a Norris guy, but yeah, like you said, Kat, we know how they're going to predict it. It's probably going to be Cale Makar.
Yeah. Next would be the Vezina Trophy, which our lovely intern loves to call the Verona Trophy. Based, I think autocorrect got him, or just lack of sleep.
That was fantastic. I love it. Hey, let's go get the Verona Trophy.
But so of course, there's no question it has to be Hellebuck. I mean, there's nobody that's gonna even come close.
No, basically it's like who's fighting for second at this point. No, it's Connor Hellebuck's got it locked up. Just I don't know what we're waiting for. Just award it now at this point.
Yeah. So Hellebuck for that. And then you've got the Calder. That's also not a surprise. I love the fact that Blake is like in talks even about it, but it's most likely going to Celebrini.
I will say though, the only guy who might have a shot is Matvei Michkov from Philadelphia. He's the only. I will say but his
coach ruins things for him by benching him sporadically throughout the season.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, like I said, I would if I was able to go and give it to someone else other than Celebrini, it would be Michkov. But yeah, like you said, Kat, it's gonna be tough. It is. Yes, Bill, you are correct. The Verona goes to Jarvis for it's the Chaos Trophy.
It's the Chaos Trophy.
Yeah, you know what?
There you go. That turned into Chaos Trophy.
Exactly. But like I said, I would love to give it to Michkov, but yeah, one thing we're all in sync here. It's probably gonna be Celebrini at this point. So what can you do?
Yeah. I mean, he's having a great season, like for the last place team in the league, but doing so crazy. I mean, good for him.
That's why
something.
Yeah, I mean that's why he was so good at BU.
See, that's what sucks for Bedard is because he's on one of the lower place teams, but he's not even getting to get these awards or have fun with guys on his team. He just kind of stick it out, like people going, it's going to get better.
And he just
going to get better.
And he just lost Taylor Hall.
and then have people ragging on him for being like, well, he's not playing like an all-star. And it's like, dude, he's not playing on a good team. This guy doesn't want to do anything. He just wants the season to be over.
Like, someone give that poor kid a break. Like, good night.
Yeah. And then of course we have the Jack Adams. Listen, we love when Brenda Moore wins this, but you got to give it to the Capitals coach because who in the world thought the Capitals would be where they are right now?
Spencer Carberry. I mean, yeah. Talk about a guy who just comes in, coming in a situation of right where the Capitals going to be. And, number 2 team in the entire NHL, number 1 in the East. I mean, Kat, you picked them to win the President's Trophy for crying out loud when everyone thought they were going to stink up the joint. So, yeah. We all know that the Jack Adams goes to a coach who really defines the odds for his team, and that's going to be Spencer Carberry. Open the showcase for that one. I mean, that's who else would you give it to? Honestly, what other coach do you give it to at this point?
The Jets coach.
I would say maybe. Actually, what I just as I say that there is one other coach I might give it to, depending on how the rest of their season goes if they make the playoffs. Dean Evason of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Do not he is a 1B to Carberry's 1A. If it's not Carberry, I would definitely give it to Dean Evason for the fact that of just all the stuff they've had to deal with since this offseason. And you know me, I've been beating the drum that I hope the Jackets make it to the playoffs this year for Johnny and Matt, which congrats to their Philadelphia Eagles for winning the Super Bowl. I hope if the Jackets make it, I hope Dean Evason is a very close 1B to Carberry. If they don't give it to him, I hope it's Evason.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. That would be great. You're right. So those again are our award predictions. Some of them based on how we think they should be, some based on we pretty much know how this voting goes now.
Yeah, so there's no shockers anymore at this point.
Again, please comment, let us know who you think should win what, and if you agreed with us like Bailey did.
Of course.
Or disagreed. But let us know. But that kind of wraps up this episode get together time with the Surgecast. Thank you all for everyone that's joined us live. This is a new thing that we're going to try to keep doing as much as possible. It's really fun. We love to see your incoming comments during the show. Obviously this one is a little bit different because it wasn't a bunch of Canes talk. We had some Four Nations. We had the NHL award predictions. But I know everyone's going to have thoughts if we do this again and it's all centered on the Canes because
for sure. Yeah.
Twitter's been fun in the last little run of losing streak. Totally swept the big winning streak right before that under the rug, but the word this season is optimism.
And hey, you know what, Kat? Still second place in the Metro Division, still top 10 in the entire league. I mean, still a lot to feel good about if you're the Carolina Hurricanes. Look, our two boys in Aho and Jarvis a 7-point night combined. It's going to be real interesting as we're looking at this race in the wild card spot. It's going to be really interesting if we go into a playoffs without Boston or the Rangers. That would be kind of nuts, but I know who we're going to get in the first round though, and that's going to be something for sure. But like I said, if there's one team I'm beating the drum on that's not the Hurricanes to make the playoffs, Kat, Blue Jackets. I hope they do. I hope they do it.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope.
It'd be really fun to see.
Hey, the Senators are playing really well too. They're in a playoff spot. Give us Ottawa, Columbus in these playoffs. I don't
want to see more of Brady Tkachuk. No one wants to see more of that. We have one Tkachuk that we're always going to get to see for a while.
Think about this though: Ottawa and Toronto in a Battle of Ontario in the first round. Those two teams hate each other.
True.
Oh, that would be wild. Imagine if Ottawa beats Toronto in the first round. Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
insanity.
But. We'll have more to talk about next week as obviously the tournament will be coming to a close. We'll have some game recaps and hopefully some fun things to talk about from this tournament. I can't wait. I love that everyone that is really interested in hockey will be dialed into these games, and there's not going to be anything kind of competing. Like, hey, did you see that game? No, I was watching this other hockey game. You literally got one thing to watch. So very excited about that. Very happy Valentine's Day to all of our listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Zach, where can they find you and where can they find the network?
Well, let's do the network first. Obviously, it's the hockeypodcastnetwork.com. You can check out us over there. We're there. There's podcasts for every hockey team you can think of. We even got college hockey. Even Terry Ryan from Shoresy's got his own podcast too. So if you're interested in hearing from Terry Ryan, go check them out after you check us out, of course. Yeah, big shout out to Dylan and Kyle, our two bosses. They're just absolutely amazing. I think we're on season 2 with these guys. Could not ask for a better network to work with if you're looking for just hockey, and more hockey, especially with all the live streams. I know we're going to be doing some live streams of the 4 nations. So make sure to check out their YouTube channel at the Hockey Podcast Network because, I mean, why not hang out with some people talking hockey as this goes on? And like Kat said, THPN at DraftKings, go win you some money and do it while helping out THPN in the process.
Do it responsibly.
Yes, please responsibly. Go win yourself some money, but also help support our amazing network.
Win yourself some money to spend at the NHL Shop.
Hey, you know what? Hey, it all comes full circle, baby. It all works out perfectly. For me, One True Zach on X. I'm also on Blue Sky, the Zachary Martin. I have link trees in both of my bios where you can check out all my articles and podcasts that I do. Yeah, so NHL, AHL, and everything Carolina Hurricanes related. Kat, where can people find you and the podcast?
Well, if you're looking to find this wonderful podcast, if you're not tuning in through our X or Blue Sky, we're on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube at the SurgeCast. And if you're, hey, I missed that game for the Hurricanes. I didn't get to see that home game. I didn't get to see the away game. Our wonderful paid intern is doing great. Paid. Great news updates and game recaps on our TikTok at the .surgecast. So go check it out. It's really fun. I know he enjoys it. And please leave comments, interact. Team Jarvis all the way over here. But for me, of course, you can find me on X, Twitter, Twix, whatever you call it, at Caniac Chick, and then on TikTok at KBT Hunter 74. But again, thank you guys so much for joining us. Almost 300 of people wanted to tune in tonight. So love to see that. Happy hump day. Happy early Valentine's Day. We love you guys. Have a great rest of your evening. We'll talk to you next time on the SurgeCast.
See ya.